August 2nd, 2026. Dear Unbothered Me. How can you tell when you are growing? Are there certain things you catch yourself doing that before you would ignore? Are there things that you would ignore previously that you catch yourself learning from? Today was one of those days for me that internally I realized I had made some progress. So it's the weekend, and I have my weekend routine, which is to get up and clean and take care of the house. And today I did that. And it was just me and the dogs. The dogs were waiting for them to be fed. I fed them, took them out. I made myself breakfast. I started a load of laundry, cleaned my kitchen. And I started to get annoyed. And the annoyance was that my husband and my son were still in their rooms, or in bed, presumably. And I thought, this seems unfair that I'm doing all of this and nobody's gotten up yet. And usually that would cause me to storm into the back of the room and just pick up my husband and pick a fight. But today, I didn't do that. I actually processed why I was upset. And in reality, I really wasn't upset. They could sleep in. I didn't actually need help with anything. The things that I were doing, I wouldn't have wanted help with. So I left it be. Continued on with my day. And then I decided that I was going to sit down and do some work. Okay. So I'm staying down and I'm going back and forth, and there's some things I have to decide on today. Big things, little things, in between things, and some of them get me really stuck. Because while they shouldn't be earth-shattering decisions, for me, they're earth-shattering decisions. Something as simple as, what name am I going to go by? Now, obviously, my name is Jamesha, and that is the name that I go by. But as a pen name, do I want to use my full name? Do I want to use my maiden name, my married name? What do I want to use? And so I went back and forth on that for a while, and that was a harder decision than I thought it was going to be, but I finally made it. And then I was checking up on all my socials, just to kind of see where Dear Journal was going. And I checked on YouTube today and realized I had a comment from last night. And so I decided, to interact, to answer questions, answer comments. But this particular comment was really interesting to me because it had nothing to do with my podcast at all. It had nothing to do with the words that were coming out of my mouth. This person's comment was on my hair. They couldn't take me seriously because, in their opinion, I needed to comb my hair. In any other time, that would have absolutely set me off. I would have gotten angry, I would have taken it personally, it would have been an attack on me, the whole 9 yards. And today, I looked at it and I laughed. And I think it was the common sense of it all that made me laugh. You can't take me seriously because, in your opinion, I need to comb my hair. Okay. Sure. That's a you problem. That is always going to be a you problem. If you can't see past someone's looks to hear what they're saying, that's a you problem. And so I responded something of the sort like, hey, does my combing my hair help you with your self-worth? Because the video was talking about putting me into a box and wearing different hats and how sometimes I hyper-focus on things. And that was the comment, well, you should hyper-focus on combing your hair. Well, does that make you feel better if I comb my hair? Does my combing my hair help you grow? Instead of answering the question, we pivoted with well, I can't take you seriously with your hair like that. And again, I said, well, if that's what you got hung up on, that's what you choose to get hung up on. I don't have any control over that. Nor am I going to let that diminish what I said. What I said was important. What I said was factual. What I said was accurate. Okay, you don't like my hair. and left it. Thought I was leaving it there. And the person came back and was like, I don't expect you to understand because your mental capacity. Okay. Sure. Just comb your hair. I'm not a monkey. I'm not a circus. I'm not a actress or a performer. I don't get on here to pretend to be something I'm not. That is not my job. It's not my responsibility. It's not what I want to do. And I think that's the moment it clicked how much this has actually helped, how much this is actually helping me to grow. Because I didn't sit there and take it and internalize it like, oh my gosh, I really need to go change my hair. I need to go comb it out. Like, I went through a whole phase where I hated my hair. I felt like it needed to be straight all the time. Couldn't stand my natural curls. I let people tell me that my hair wasn't good enough. There are people who would love to have the definition in their hair that I do. And I was convinced that I shouldn't have it, that I shouldn't like it, that I shouldn't want it. I let people convince me for the longest time that my hair is short. This may look like it is short. Believe me when I tell you that it isn't. It is curly. Curly and short are two drastically different things. Shrinkage. Shrinkage is real, especially with my hair. Ask my stylist. She will gladly tell you that my hair is ridiculously long and thick. And it just amused me today that instead of taking it personal, instead of going in there and straightening my hair or combing my hair the way that they wanted me to, I just said, okay, you don't like my hair. I was so unbothered by the whole thing. And for me, that's growth. And I think that I worried a lot of people because, I told my best friend about it and I told my husband about it because I'm like, I got my first hater. Yay! And they both were like, are you okay? Don't let it get to you. I mean, this gets really hard and this is where people really, struggle because things like this get to them. And for me, nothing. I think part of it is that there's a long history of Black women and their hair in their business. So for that reason, it didn't really faze me. But again, what I'm saying is less important to you because of my hair. My hair. That's water dripping, by the way. It holds water extremely well for a long time and does this. But how many times do we get dismissed for the dumbest of fucking reasons? Yesterday, we talked about people being in boxes and not being seen for who they are. And so the comment on that post was to tell me I needed to comb my hair. I needed to go into yet another box. Almost as if the point was staring them in the face and still miss them. We can try to explain ourselves to people over and over and over again. They're only going to hear what they're capable of hearing. They're only going to hear what they want to hear. I could look you in the face today and tell you that you're beautiful and you're important and you're kind. You is kind. You is smart. You is important. And you not believe me. It's hard to accept things when you're not in the headspace to accept them. There have been many times that I've had someone give me a compliment or criticism, and I haven't been in the headspace to accept that message. I accept it as everything but what they're attempting to say to me. And then I get into my feelings and I get hurt. I would say most arguments that I end up in is because I've interpreted what they said to be something different in my head. Boyfriend and I fight, and by fight, I mean I get mad because he'll say something and I'll be like, obviously he doesn't care. Best friend will say something and it'll be like, obviously I'm not that important. Husband will say something and it'll be like, great, I must not mean anything to you. Because I hear what I want to hear versus what I need to hear. It's so easy to do. And today, I heard the message and it didn't apply to me. The message didn't apply to me. That message wasn't for me, nor was it actually about me. How bold you have to be to sit behind a keyboard and make comments about someone's appearance. It's juvenile at best. And that says so much about you when I get online and I put myself out there and I say, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not the prettiest girl in the world. I'm not even the smartest person in the world. But I know what I know. I've been through what I've been through. I'm here to help. Will always be here to help. Unbothered. And I wish that I could have been this unbothered so many years before. It would have saved me from so much heartache, so many fights, so many lonely nights. Because then maybe instead of fighting for someone to want me and to love me and to care about me, like I have, I would have just been unbothered with that being a them problem. Not everybody has to want me. Not everybody has to love me or like me. They don't have to appreciate me. I get to choose at which table I sit. If I'm not invited to that table, if I'm not wanted at that table, I get to walk away. I get to leave. But the beauty of that is, so do you. We're not required to stay in a place where we are not wanted. Be unbothered. And I recognize that's really hard to do. It's really hard to not wear your heart on your sleeve and to not care what somebody thinks. Be unbothered. Let them worry about them not liking you. You worry about what your favorite color is today. Still yellow. Still green. My fidget. I just was really unbothered. I sat down and had dinner with my family, and then they all kind of got up and went their separate ways, and usually, again, that'd be the time I'd bitch and complain, oh my god, the kitchen's a mess, nobody helped clean up. And I just did it. And I wasn't upset. Do I want to do that every day by myself? No. Today I was just unbothered. It didn't matter. My headspace said, it's just a good fucking day. There's no reason to be upset. There's no reason to be angry. Nothing has happened today that should make me feel bothered. Nothing was that important. So, today, I'm unbothered. Today, my piece of pie was meal prepping dinner. I put it in the crock pot early. Had that sitting there cooking all day long today. Clock it. And then I got this feedback and brushed it off my shoulders. I started to get upset with my family, and I was just like, but you're not really upset. You don't actually care. Dust that off my shoulder. Today, my bite of pie was that I grew. In situations where I would have been a pain in the ass to not only myself, but to everyone around me, I said, it doesn't really affect me. I don't really care. I was unbothered. Be unbothered. sometimes it's okay to just not care. And I recognize that our mindset, our mental health says that we have to care about every little nuance. Oh my gosh, they must not like me. Oh my gosh, they may not want me. Be unbothered. It doesn't change your life. It honestly doesn't affect your life. Them thinking something about you isn't going to make your life better or worse. I promise you, the person whispering about you isn't going to make or break your day. Well, I don't like her because she doesn't do this. Okay. That doesn't change you. It doesn't change you. Be unbothered. Be as unbothered as you can. Let them think that it means more than it actually does. Because that's all in their head. They look delusional. You're living your life. For you. What you should be. Unbothered. Be unbothered. Be free of the judgment that lives in your head when someone else makes a comment. Makes a face. Shows disdain. Be unbothered. That is the goal today. And that is my goal for tomorrow. Just be unbothered. To remember, I do things for a reason. Not everybody will always understand my reasoning. They will not understand why I say things the way that I say them, and I do things the way that I do them. There's always a reason. Today, as I was writing a letter, I had to explain why I was saying it the way that I was saying it. Because so many people would want to change it. Like, oh, well, this could be cleaner here. I'm not going for cleaner. I'm going for real. I'm going for me. How I speak, how I talk, how I'd want someone to say something to me. I'm unbothered by the fact that you think it should be different. It's my work. It's my thought process. They're my words. I'm unbothered. So, be unbothered with me. Be carefree with me. Just be. And, of course, just remember, today is another page in the story. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be written. And before you close your journal tonight, ask yourself, what was your bite of pie? Until tomorrow, love you loud.